The lamb and sheep market really has stayed surprisingly positive here through the last month. We really should be thankful for how strong it was. Yeah, there was some drop as it did react to the news of the coronavirus, but then we were kind of fortunate to still have the traditional Easter market, and then last week the Orthodox Easter market help us provide some support. As you look at retail trade, and by that I mean the supermarkets, it is kind of amazing that our product on the shelves there has really stayed, actually has increased over what it was in 2019 in this time frame. So we should extremely be thankful for that. Cutout value remains strong, kind of based off of this coming from the supermarkets. But it looks like people that traditionally eat lamb are still buying it in the grocery store. Obviously, it's hard to make up all the loss of the 50% lamb consumption that came through the restaurant trade through this. But again, our position here in Ohio with our supply being so close to the East Coast, I think helps us also remain extremely positive here through this period of up and down sales. Next slide I did pull out. It's just since the first of the year, and again, remember I use an average of the high and low off the daily market from United Producers in Mount Vernon, Ohio. The bottom line is the big lambs, 130 and over. The top line, the red line, is for the roasters, roughly in those 60-pound lambs. And then the middle line is for the hair sheep-based lambs that fit in the market. And again, you can see obviously we saw the drop, and as you look over the last couple of weeks, we've actually shown a little strength. And looking at the markets, I guess I'm recording this on Wednesday, April 23rd. Mount Hope yesterday was at least steady to strong, and it looks like Mount Vernon Producers is going to hold that way too today. So again, very, very positive. Any problems ahead? I'm sure we got to expect some price volatility, although cold storage today is about normal for this time of year. But again, without the restaurant trade, we would assume that probably will gain some poundage there. Slaughter weights have not increased much yet. Why, we're not sure. Out west, again, there is some market. Some of these lambs then are just being put out to pasture to help slow their rate of gain down, so it extends out the period until we hopefully don't get into big heavy slaughter weights on down the road. Production, again, kind of the same thing here. I don't think a lot of these lambs have come into the system yet. They're just kind of slowing them down rather than trying to get a lot of weight on them early and get them back into the market channel. Next slide is and I said this a couple weeks ago when I had this presentation. This is strictly looking the last 4 years, 19, 18, 17, and 16 for the Hare lambs, and kind of very similar chart as we see to our roaster lamb market, and it really parallels that very nicely. You can see there obviously are up and downs, but pretty much the peak, around the Easter time, and then we kind of trail off into the summer months and plateau out through the winter months, and then start the cycle over again. Next chart then is as we look at the heavy lambs, and their best price again has been in that April, May, June time frame. And as we look as they move on out through the late summer, fall, and into the winter, some years we see a more significant drop off. But again, as you think about some of these spring lambs we have here in 2020, if you do want to feed them on out, I think based on past what has happened, the market will deteriorate a little bit, but generally does level off, and there may be some truth in what's going to happen again this year. But again, time will tell, I guess. So that pretty well wraps it up for where we're at here, April 23rd, and what's gone on to this point. We'll try to get back with you with further information in the next 2 or 3 weeks.